How to deposit in Schwab. This is a broker that is mainly based in the United States and many people are starting to use it. So I'm going to show you all the ways you can deposit. The first thing is to log into your account, and once you're in, go to the option at the top that says move money. Then click here where it says routing numbers and direct deposit, and it will show up here. Generally, to make a deposit, what we need is US dollars. So we have these options that appear here. The first is this domestic option, which is for sending money through a bank that we already have in the United States. That is, when we send the money, we need an account in the United States to make the transfer, because if we have an account elsewhere in the world, they won't let us make the deposit as we don't have the information. The details for an international transfer from outside the United States or from an account not in dollars differ. This information is for depositing directly from a dollar account. Keep that in mind. This information, and the most important thing is, well, this is simple. I'm not going to show you how to do it inside a bank because it's easy. You make a transfer from your bank, enter the bank's name, the bank's address, the routing number, the account number. But the most important thing, and what no one should forget, is this part. It's a note. You need to include this as a note when you send the money. And here where it says your name, you have to write your name exactly registered with the broker so you can receive the money in your account. And this number here, this number, if you notice, matches the number that appears here on the back where it says individual, because it's literally my account. So what happens then? If you don't include this when you make the transfer, the money will reach the broker, but they won't know who it's for. In other words, which account the money should go to. That's why this is practically the most important thing when making the transfer. By the way, now that I remember, let's go back to the previous point, and that's that to be able to deposit. Remember that in this broker, we can have several accounts. Select your account here. If you have different accounts, always choose the one you want to deposit into. In this case, I only have one, so I choose this one. Done. You've selected it. We can continue. To make an international transfer, in this case in dollars, this is what you need to do. As you can see, the details change. Even though it's the same bank, Citibank, the same bank in the previous option, in this case, it no longer gives us a routing number, but instead gives us this code that appears here. This code is what banks in other countries ask us for to make a transfer, which is this code right here. So it's more of the same. When making the transfer, you enter the name of the bank, then the bank's address, then you request the code, enter this code here, the account number, which is this one here, the name of the account holder, which in this case is the broker itself, which is this one. And again, these details are important. Please fill it out completely with your full name exactly as it is officially registered in your broker account, and then carefully enter your complete account number so that the deposit actually reaches you and not someone else, ensuring a secure and accurate transaction. As for these fees, depend directly on your bank at the time of transfer, because they may charge you for currency conversion if you are depositing in another currency. Well, they convert it to dollars and then make the deposit. And they may also charge you for making the transfer, but that depends on your bank. Now, when you're going to make the transfer, but you are going to deposit in a currency other than dollars, you need to look at these instructions in detail, because it tells directly the name of the bank for each of the currencies we can deposit. For example, in Australian dollars, Canadian dollars, euros, and well, all the available currencies, because for each currency we have a different bank and account number. And this is where we can see the options. For example, Mexican peso, New Zealand dollar, you just have to check which currency you'll deposit and which one you'll ultimately use. Remember, for example, over here, look, you can do this in US dollars, but in this case, it's literally the same information that appears here under international. If you are making a deposit in dollars, remember the details are already here, but if you are depositing in another currency, then the details are over here. Then we have the other option, which is literally the best, but this only applies to people who have a local account in the United States. That is, those who have an account at a bank in the United States, and it's about making a direct deposit, which is the easiest and simplest way. And above all, you need to make sure that your bank supports transfers via ACH. If it does, then what you need to do is go directly to your bank and start a new transfer, entering this routing number, this account number that appears here, and these bank details, and so on. And if you just realized, this is actually the easiest way, because when you make a transfer, you don't have to do what's shown here, like entering your name or your account number, since these numbers here are already linked to your account. That is, if you're gonna make a transfer right now, don't copy these numbers you see on the screen, because the transfer would literally go to my account, not yours. So what you need to do is come over here to move money once you log into your account. Then, as you know, click on routing numbers and direct deposit, and here you'll see the numbers that apply to you. The good thing is the money will always reach us no matter what, and it literally only takes from one day to the next. In other words, if you deposit on a Monday, you'll practically have the money in your account by Tuesday, which is much better than the options above, because those can take 3 to 5 days. That's why the best option. But be careful, because this is only if you have an account in the United States, or if you have a bank that allows you to make payments in dollars with a routing number and account number. If you don't have this, then you won't be able to make payments this way. In that case, you would have to deposit your funds using the methods shown at the top. Now, the last method is this one over here, which is for, let's say, requesting money from Schwab without needing to log into your bank account. But for this, you absolutely must have this number that appears here. If you simply do not have it, you will not be able to successfully link it. So that is certainly something to keep in mind when making the deposit. But honestly, for me, the very best way is this one shown right here. So if you have an account in the United States, do it this way. If not, you'll have to use one of these other methods shown here. And if you still have more questions, remember, you always have the option to call. If you're in the United States, you can call these numbers shown here on the screen, and they'll help you make the deposit and explain the fees and everything else you need to know. But if you're outside the United States, just use this number clearly shown here, and they'll answer your call and also explain all the fees and everything else you need to know. And once you've made the deposit, simply go to your account and the money will appear there available for you.